the notion in there that she's ecstatic with the settlement because of her ability to pursue this most potent.
The notion in there that she's ecstatic with the settlement because of her ability to pursue this most potent and powerful claim for attorney's fees. Not damages, attorney's fees. You heard that right. Ecstatic. Not relieved, not ready to move on. Ecstatic. And when you understand what Angelina Jolie just unlocked in her 8-year war against Brad Pitt, that one word will make your blood run cold. Picture the Stanley Mosk Courthouse in downtown Los Angeles, late afternoon, the kind of flat white light that makes every secret feel exposed. She walks out past the cameras, a black Escalade waiting, 0 statements. But as she slides inside, you catch it. A smirk so small it almost disappears. That smirk is the loudest confession of all. She didn't just settle a piece of the divorce. She secured the right to turn every dollar Brad Pitt spent trying to bury her into a bill he now has to pay. And before I show you the receipt that breaks this whole thing open, do me a favor, hit subscribe to the CelebTea files right now. We don't just cover the drama, we expose what the headlines are hiding. You're gonna want to be in this room for what comes next. Let's rewind. The divorce was never just about two people falling out of love. From the moment Jolie filed in 2016, this became a masterclass in reputation warfare. The Chateau Miraval fight, the custody battles, the leaked FBI reports from that private jet, and the quiet, relentless machinery of PR that tried to paint her as unstable, bitter, and obsessed. While the world saw Brad Pitt sober, sculpting, doing charming awards show bits, Angelina was in court fighting an entirely different Brad Pitt. One who, according to her filings, demanded she sign an NDA that would have forced her to stay silent about alleged abuse in exchange for a final settlement. She refused, and the war got uglier. Now here's where the story twists into something bigger than gossip. The settlement everyone's whispering about doesn't hand her a massive cash payout. It releases her to claim attorney's fees, millions and millions in fees for him.
This lawsuit has never been principally about money for our client. It has been about accountability. It has been about shining a light on this underground smear machine that retaliated against her for raising.
And the reason she's ecstatic? Because to win those fees, her legal team doesn't just have to prove she won. They get to prove how he lost. They get to open the books, put the PR army under oath, and show exactly what they did to try to make her look like a monster. This is the part nobody is talking about. If her team can demonstrate that his side engaged in bad faith litigation, delay tactics, or, here's the nuclear word, a coordinated smear campaign designed to bleed her dry and destroy her credibility,
coming out in our case that has led to information being used now in other litigations, the Nicholas case, the Amanda Ghost case. This underground smear machine has been exposed, and people are now on notice. That if they see, if you...
The court can award her every cent she spent fighting back. And based on the one line that slipped out from her camp, that proof already exists. And trust me, the next part gets so much worse. Let's talk about the Miraval winery. In the glossy version, Brad and Angelina bought a French estate, made rosé, and lived out a romantic fantasy. The reality? That winery became the hostage. Pitt sued Jolie for selling her share to a Russian oligarch without his blessing, framing it as a betrayal of their shared dream. Jolie fired back with a cross-complaint that read like a psychological thriller, alleging he tried to force her to stay silent about his behavior and waged a vindictive campaign to ruin her financially and publicly after she refused. The war over grapes became a war over truth. In one filing, her lawyers wrote, and I'm paraphrasing from documents, that Pitt's side engaged in a pattern of obstruction designed to punish her for speaking out. The court took notice. Motions got gutted. Some of his claims withered under scrutiny. And then came the moment that changed everything. A partial judgment that cracked open the door for Jolie to pursue attorney's fees, not because she asked nicely, but because the legal record supported it. That's when her side used that word, ecstatic. Because now the very thing Brad Pitt's money machine tried to do, outspend her into silence, could become the thing that publicly exposes him. And here is what makes this sting. Angelina Jolie never said she wanted his money. She said she wanted accountability. And yet right now, she's ecstatic to claim attorney's fees. See how that cuts? She's ecstatic to claim attorney's fees. Not damages, not a bigger piece of Miraval, but the one line item that...
Really, we should be grateful to Blake, is what he's saying, Matt. No one's going to get smeared anymore on the internet because of her.
The TikTok accounts that seem to spring up overnight, recycling the same talking points. Social proof is everywhere. Millions of fans watched that narrative and swallowed it whole. You might have even believed some of it. That's the power of a real Hollywood PR machine. But now, Jolie's team isn't just claiming it happened. They're preparing to prove it, line item by line item, in a fee recovery hearing where the burden shifts and the receipts become public record. Think about the identity shift that happens in your own brain when you realize that. You're not just watching a celebrity catfight. You're watching a woman who refused to sign an NDA, who was told to just take the money and disappear, and who instead said, no, I'm gonna make you pay the bill for what you did to silence me. And that bill is gonna tell the story you never wanted told. That's the moment the viewer becomes smarter than every headline. But here's the uncomfortable question that reframes this whole thing, and I need you to sit with it. If a global superstar with near limitless resources had to fight for 8 years just to get a shot at exposing a smear machine, what do you think happens to the women without Angelina Jolie's money, without her platform, without her willingness to burn Hollywood down?
Of our opinion, you can't make up facts about somebody that are false. But if we think she's a terrible, spoiled, mean girl bully, we're free to say that.
How many NDAs are still tucked in settlement agreements right now, burying behavior far worse than what's already been alleged because the price of fighting is simply too high? This isn't a divorce story anymore. It's a mirror. And before you start thinking this is all just legal strategy and no heartbreak, let me pull you back into the emotional wreckage. There are 6 children who grew up watching their parents turn each other into headlines. There's a woman who, by her own admission in court papers, feared for her safety on a plane in 2016 and has spent nearly a decade being painted as the villain. The moral outrage here is simple. If someone tries to silence you about the worst moment of your life and then deploys a team to make sure nobody believes you anyway, shouldn't they pay, literally, for that? The court seems to think so. And that's why she's ecstatic to claim attorney's fees. That phrase is now a verdict. Let's get forensic for a second. When you strip away the celebrity, the legal principle is devastating. To award attorney's fees as a sanction or as a prevailing party fee shift, a judge has to find something more than losing. There has to be a record of misconduct, delay, bad faith, a pattern. The fact that her camp is so confident they're practically daring the world to watch means they believe the evidence isn't just embarrassing, it's damning. We're talking emails between publicists, strategies to flood search results, maybe even coordination with friendly media. Sound familiar? The reference case that shook Hollywood already showed us the playbook.
People assassinate your character and reputation with untraceable digital smear campaigns. I think when you discover that somebody has done that to you, that bringing that to light and holding those people accountable is important. And I think that
And now, Jolie's legal team is signaling they've got the binder. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. This is just one side, lawyers spin everything. True, except the settlement itself exists. It's not a rumor. It triggered a mechanism that allows her to seek fees, and you don't get that without some judicial green light. The question is no longer whether she gets to pursue it. She will. The question is what comes out when she does. And that's why you need to stay glued to this story, because the next document drop could be the text messages, the memos, the invoices that connect the dots between a famous face and a machine designed to take down his ex-wife. Can you imagine being Brad Pitt right now? The man who spent years carefully rebuilding a good guy image, the art collector, the architectural enthusiast, the sober introspection guy, facing a public hearing where his own lawyer's strategies get laid bare and every dollar he spent to attack her might be handed right back to her. The irony is so thick it tastes like Miraval rosé left open in the sun. He made the fight about her credibility. She just made it about his billable hours. This is the reframe you didn't see coming. While the internet was arguing over whether she was difficult or he was blindsided, she was quietly building a legal endgame that turns his biggest weapon, his financial power, into his biggest liability. You don't get to outspend someone into silence, get caught trying, and then not pay the cost. That's not revenge. That's math. So where do we go from here? The unanswered question that's going to haunt every PR crisis team in Los Angeles tonight: if Angelina Jolie can prove a coordinated smear and the court orders Pitt to cover millions in her legal bills, does Hollywood finally have to admit that the biggest stars don't just make movies, they run off-camera operations that destroy lives? And if she wins this, how many other settlements, how many other NDAs start to crack? I want to hear from you in the comments. Is Brad Pitt's image permanently broken once the attorney fee hearing exposes the machine? Or does Hollywood always forgive a charming man? And more importantly, is Angelina Jolie's ecstasy over those fees the most brilliant power move in celebrity legal history? Or just the inevitable fury of a woman who was told to be quiet once too often?
He's just wrong. He's wrong in his PR strategy, and he's wrong about what this whole thing did to Blake Lively. She is not in a better place now than she was.
Tell me exactly what you think. I read those comments, and the best takes might just shape our next breakdown. If you made it this far, you already know you're the kind of viewer who sees past the press release. So do the 3 things that keep this channel exposing what the headlines hide. Like this video, share it with someone who still thinks this was just a messy divorce, and subscribe to the CelebTea files with notifications on, because the attorney fee hearing hasn't even been scheduled yet. And when it hits, you're going to want to be the first person in your group chat who actually understands what's happening. We'll be here. No BS, no agenda, no fear. See you in the comments.